rock and or roll?
We can do both.
The real question is, how well did I prep for this? Did I actually make sure that we've got Barry's boring play of the day ready? We do. Make sure that mine is Spears ready to go. Okay, no, we're good. How about that? All right, welcome in, kids. Another edition of SoCal Saturdays on the Horse Racing Happy Hour, presented by Amwager. His name is Barry. My name is Louie. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, you're deciding to do this every week with us. Every Friday, we go through the card on Saturday in Southern California. Right now, of course, at Del Mar Racetrack, Yellow Ribbon Handicap, and of course, that best pal. See if Bob Baffert can get it done again in that race. 3 O'Neills and 2 Bafferts. Barry, you are rocking and rolling. How are you, man?
Oh man, a lovely Friday, of course. And I'm really excited for this this weekend, especially at Del Mar, because of the fact that I think there's some opportunities to beat Mr. Baffert.
Okay, all right. I like that very, very much. You can find Barry Spears, of course, at Urban Handicapper on the Twitter machine. You can find me at Radio Louie if you are so inclined. Just interviewed Brad Cox. If you want to hear that interview, it'll be part of a show called the Kentucky Racing Spotlight. That'll be on at 6 o'clock on ESPN Louisville here locally in the market. You can catch it, all of our shows, at the Horse Racing Happy Hour podcast feed as well, wherever you get your podcast. Barry, we did the Ellis Park thing last night. We're doing the Del Mar thing today. Last week at Del Mar, we had the Hirsch, and that is a winning in for the distaff. And because the distaff is at Del Mar this year, it was one of those races that I was watching with a lot of interest to see if there might be a West Coast shooter that jumps up. Obviously, Seismic Beauty gets the win, but a lot of the talk, Barry, that I heard, including from you, was about what was going on with Ricci and with other horses in that race, wondering what the tactics were and that kind of stuff. If Seismic Beauty didn't get some kind of advantage from how others were running. What did you make of the Hirsch last year?
I think Seismic Beauty is a really good horse. She got an exceptionally soft trip in the Hirsch, so it's hard to evaluate what she's going to do going forward. She's obviously talented. Horse like Ricci is definitely as equally as talented, but they were kind of ridden differently, and it made a big difference. But you tend to see that with some Baffert runners occasionally when he has a few in a race.
Right. Yeah, different tactics for different horses for sure. But she comes out of it. I'll go ahead and play devil's advocate. Why can we not give her? No, I'm serious. Why can't we give her credit for making her own trip there? She broke from the rail, did get out quickly, and she does that in every race, by the way. That's a style that won the distaff last year, frankly, for Torpedo Anna. And we saw Citizen Bowl win the juvenile that way for Bob Baffert last year. Why couldn't that happen, Barry?
It's definitely possible. I think when it comes to that day, that's where the gamble is. Is she able to make that kind of race with those kind of horses? She obviously could do it against a few. Is she going to do it against 11 or 12 or, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a good gauge to see how talented she is. But things are going to get tougher and she's going to have to do it again.
It'll be a different feel for sure. We're talking about the card tomorrow at Del Mar. 10 races on it, including the Grade 2 Yellow Ribbon Handicap turf race. That'll be toward the back of the card, and the Best Pal, which is part of the early pick 5. It's a Grade 3 for 3-year-olds, for 2-year-olds on this card. As well, we're, as always, presented by our friends at Amwager. Get the Amwager Edge. It's a platform, designed by horse players for you. The horse player, speed, power, top tier features. They've got it all for you. Everything from that pick 6 down to a simple win bet. They've got you covered. Amwager, they've got those tools to help you bet smarter. And right now, man, they're live in California. You can bet all the California tracks. Visit amwager.com for a 100% deposit match up to $150. You need an edge. Get our friends at Amwager. Race 1 will kick off the card on Saturday. Barry, I've heard that's how many tracks start their cards, is with race 1.
No way. I thought it was -1.
Many.
That's usually me because I lose the first race often. So yeah.
Every time I hang out with you, you hit the first race. So
I know.
You just need to hang out with me. That's how that goes. Yeah. Get Louie to the track more often. It's an optional claimer here on the turf. An interesting one here because Mackenzie Street, Barry, ran second to a horse named Big Boat, who we're going to see in the Ellis Park Derby on Sunday. How about that?
Yeah, it's very interesting. We obviously showed our love for Big Boat, but
Big Boat talk. That's right. Yeah.
Are
you going to give Mackenzie Street the kind of love you gave Big Boat last night? Because shame on you if you don't.
Shame then, because I'm definitely not. Definitely not. Only because I love betting against favorites on the rail. And then even in this spot, the second choice, It's a Cinch, the 3,
Yeah.
has similar running style. And that could spell curtains for both of them. And that's what I'm hoping. You want to throw the 2 listen up Chance in there, and we got a party. And it, basically lands me on the 6 Triple Diamonds, who I think has the best running style, best late kick of anybody in this field, and should get the job done at, I would say probably about 3 or 4 to 1.
In about 9 weeks off, this is Mark Glatt territory. It really is. You and I have the same horse on top. This is what he does, is when a horse needs a break, he's as good as bringing them back in spots where they have a chance to win as anyone on the West Coast. And so Mark Glatt here, plus we get Umberto Rispoli. Horses in for the tag. And once in a while, Barry, I do watch for that because it means that they qualify for the tag and they can't waive it, right? And so that's usually, frankly, a positive. In a lot of these handicap races, I'll look for the horse carrying the most weight because that usually means you've won a bunch, right? And so
Yep.
in this case, that does stand out for Triple Diamonds. That the horse is in for the tech. Now, to be fair, they paid 35 grand for this horse. He's a 3-year-old gelding. So if they got the money, they'd be fine for it as well. And it qualifies him, I guess, if are there $80,000 starter allowances in California? Probably not. They are here. And so maybe they'll be able to qualify that way. But yeah, the Son of Sir Prance Light, you and I have on top. We both have the 1 in our handicapping from the rail. You and I aren't denying the quality of McKenzie Street, simply the draw, yes?
Yeah, that's really the kicker for me. Not only that, it's just kind of curious that this horse is starting in this spot
Okay.
here rather than on a dirt. There's some dirt races for 3-year-olds that I think this horse could probably get in without risking for a tag. So maybe they just think this horse is a turf horse. I'm not really sure, but we'll see.
I wonder once in a while, with a horse that comes from Kentucky like this, lands in California, are they trying the turf because of the condition, book, period? Or could we see this one back at Kentucky Downs?
I don't know. I mean,
But this seems a
we
little
don't
too
even
close to
know
Kentucky
what kind of
Downs.
turf horse this is yet. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I guess they're suspecting that this horse in the class will translate over to the turf, which makes a lot of sense, especially in this field. But going forward, it's like, where are they going to go with this? But
Right.
you might be right. May end up going for the big purses over at Kentucky Downs.
You never know. It's a cinch. Is third in my handicapping. Did win 2 back at Santa Anita at the distance. A furlong longer, but on the turf there at Santa Anita did finish Triple Diamonds, who you and I both like in that one as well. Race 2 starts the early pick 4 maiden special 2-year-olds here. This one's 100K, 6.5 furlongs here too, Barry. We get a couple of second time starters in here, a bunch of firsters. I'll go first in this one. I know you like a longer shot than I do because I like the favorite, Battle Rouge. Second timer for Bob Baffert. This one, I think she got discouraged. She was mid-pack the whole way, just kind of never found her footing. I'm hoping the workouts most recently that have been very good have shaken some of that rust off of her. Barry, we've seen many, many times horses seem like they're going nowhere in their first races, put it together in their second. I'm hoping she'll do that here as far as my picks go. I went 3, 5, and 7. I think Pentel Bay, first timer for Simon Callahan, who's coming on as a first time starter trainer, 2 for his last 9, but man, he's 4 for his last 10 with 2-year-olds, Barry. So
Yeah.
this does seem to be something that he's getting considerably better at. This is a daughter of Uncle Mo, all the things. I think she sets up rail here. So I went 3, 5, 7 in this spot here, Barry. You're going to take a shot though on the rail.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like the reverse of last race where the favorite was on the rail and I do not like. Long shot on the rail, I do like because I'm going to get a price. Bank shot is interesting to say the least because the dam won at first asking on the dirt. Puskita. This horse is also a half to a horse named Never Say Try, who also won first time out. So the precociousness is there in the pedigree. You get Ryan Hansen, who
That's what he
does
does.
really well with first time starters. You got a workout in July 11th, 5 furlongs, minute from the gate in hand, 8 out of 57 on the day at Santa Anita, ships down to Del Mar, has 3 5 furlong works. To me, this spells a fit horse running in a 6.5 furlong race and just got to beat a Baffert. That's all. I think Bank Shot has a good shot, and we're gonna go with it.
Ryan Hansen for second place finishes, no wins yet at Del Mar, does have 13 on the year with 112 starters, excuse me. But he and Escobedo do hit together solid 21% in 19 runs. So just at right at 5 wins in 19 goes. I think the 7 Bad Manners on the inside is one to watch as well for Richard Mandela. This is another daughter of Into Mischief here. And we're seeing DeMuro start to win races here, right? So Mirko comes over from Japan, wants to get him out for the Breeders' Cup, and you totally understand why he would be at Del Mar for this meeting. Slow start. I think he started something like 1 for 20, has won 2 of his last 10 down there as well. Richard Mandela trains Bad Manners in that one. Race 3 again, presented by Amwager. This is the Horse Racing Happy Hour and SoCal Saturdays. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the program. Barry Spears, Louie Rabaut with you. A state bred maiden special here, 5 furlongs on the turf, Barry. 80,000 on the line. This is for 3 and up. Some interesting shorter prices in here. I landed on a shorter price. No one is surprised to hear you landed on the 9. A first timer in this group. Not too many first timers.
Yeah, I think this is a good spot for a first timer to win. The horses that have run have been okay. Probably need a little bit more improvement, but Zip Me Up, the 9, is a full brother to Zip Ohm, who won at first asking.
There you go.
Is a half to a horse named Zip Now, who won at first asking, and is also a half to Unzip Me Lord, who also won at first asking. So
Unzip Me Lord is the name of a horse.
Yeah, I know, it made me laugh. All of them made me chuckle. The full brother.
You leave the Lord out of that, okay? You can do whatever you want, but you leave the Lord out of that, okay?
I gotta appreciate the naming. They're doing it okay with the dam being Unzip Me. They got some pretty good names in there.
Man. That's no, it's not a bad job. I'm not hating on the names. It's just leave the Lord out of this.
I'm with you.
Thank you. All right. I have the 9 in the 3rd spot. We agree. You went 9-1. I went 1-8-9. Godavery on the inside. Another sprinter is going to have to break from the rail here that we're talking about, Barry. Antonio Fresu keeps them out here. This is one for Dan Blacker that's been in the equation every single race, never been more than a length and 3/4 off in a loss. Started his career, at Los Al on the dirt. We got to the turf once the horse moved to Santa Anita, has been right there. Frankly, has been running really, really well in those races. In the 2nd spot here, I wanted to try Fancy Facts, the second timer here. Kazushi Kimura keeps them out. He's having a really nice meet at Del Mar. It's been nice to see him bounce back that way. Mike Pipey trains in this spot. First turfers for him are a really, really good angle. We're going dirt to turf in this spot. The conversion rate about 22% for these kinds of horses. So I think this is a targeted move to the turf for this one. And so I went 1-8-9 in this one. You went 9-1-4. What is it that you like about Pavel's A12?
Just kind of the best of the rest.
Okay.
Probably needed a little break. Was kind of spinning his wheels, or her wheels, so to speak, in these kind of races. Not really making any headway. Getting Lasix after this break might make a little bit of a difference and kind of clunk up and finish 3rd.
Moving on to race 4. This is, by the way, the Horse Racing Happy Hour. SoCal Saturdays hanging out with you, and Amwager, amwager.com. Go check them out for their 100% deposit match up to $150. If you want to bet the races this weekend, go check them out right now. Amwager.com. The grade 3 best pal is race 4, 6 furlongs on the dirt here. It is for 2-year-olds, $150,000 on the line. Big favorite in Desert Gate, who was a monster first time out at Santa Anita last time, has been working at Del Mar most recently. And Barry, what stands out when I watch the past performances with Baffert trainees, especially ones who I know he's thinking of as his highest level trainees, you see the work pattern that you associate with Desert Gate, which is you see a 4 furlonger, then a 5, and then usually back to a 4, and then a jump to a 6 furlong timed workout. And the 6 furlong giveaway for me is obvious here. And that wasn't one where they were pushing this horse especially hard, because 112 and whatever probably isn't winning this race. To be really clear. I think you're going to have to win 110 and change to win the best pal this year, something like that.
Yeah.
But this horse sets up, I think, to be in a perfect spot. I think he's going to stalk because he's going to have speed to run at in this one. But I also wonder if he isn't just so fast that he's just going to inherit the lead because of his speed. And so I'm sitting on the 5. I know you're going to try to beat the 5 here, but to me, this reeks of a Bob Baffert special. And I think that, boy, I forget how many in a row this will be for him and how many overall, but the list is long. And I think he adds to it here, Barry. You landed on the 1, though, in Brigante. Tell people about Brigante.
Well, I think you're right as far as the race shape goes, and especially with Desert Gate. I think that horse is pretty quick. However, I think there's a horse in Punto 40, the
Yep.
2, that can hang. I know the buyer last time at Los Al wasn't that great, but I think that was just a function of actually the track more than it was the horse.
Yep.
And if anybody can get in Desert Gate's way, and like you said, that horse is showing all the signs of being live. I mean, really, to me, the telltale sign is Juan Hernandez. I don't think Bob Baffert really wastes his time. Uh, so he puts them on the live ones. But going to Brigante, this horse is exiting a live race. There's 3 next out winners in that race, including Hey Nene.
Yep.
The winner came out of that race to win the Tyro at Monmouth, which is on the turf as well. But
Yep.
I think, Doug O'Neill's holding a good horse, and getting Punto 40 to push Desert Gate might put that one in the winner's circle at a decent price, and we'll beat 2 Bafferts. So we'll beat 3 through 4 races here.
St. Petersburg is in this race. You have that horse listed second in your handicapping. That's still a maiden for Baffert. Are you going on that most recent work from the gate?
No, I think this horse has the same running style as Brigante, and they're going to probably come running late. I really believe that Punto 40 and Desert Gate might duel each other in submission, and if that happens, those are the 2 likeliest horses to pick them up.
Pavlovian. Is there anything in your life that makes you act like Pavlov's dog?
That's a good question, because I do enjoy an Italian ice. So whenever I think about cherry and coconut Italian ice, yeah, I get that. Interesting. I'm from Florida. Easy on me.
Alongside a salivating Barry Spears, I'm Louie Rabaut. This is the Horse Racing Happy Hour, SoCal Saturdays. Thanks for hanging out with us. Closing the early pick 5 will be race 5. You can check this out as well to start the pick 6, the $1 traditional pick 6. And you can bet it at Amwager and Amwager.com. An optional claimer for fillies and mares, which have never won more than $21,000 other than their maiden or another race like that. $81,000 on the table here. Barry, we've got a couple of favorites here. Eiffel comes in at 5-2. Antonio Fresu for Mike Pipey. That one's got to stretch out in this spot, which we see a lot in Southern California. I landed on that 3 in Eiffel. I like the time off here for Mike Pipey. I love a horse coming out of a maiden win. His horses win at 21% back to back. And so I like that angle as well. This one just seems to fit with what is going to win this kind of race. So I landed on the 3 on top. And I know you have the 3 in your handicapping. I think Magale in the 2 here is really interesting. Daughter of Bacoma has been running down the hill the last 2 times. But if we get back to this horse breaking its maiden, it was at Del Mar the only time this horse has been at Del Mar. And then after that, they tried the turf at Santa Anita going a mile. The horse simply wasn't ready. And so Juan Hernandez gets booked here for Richard Baltas. They're taking the blinkers off. And I just think that this horse getting back from sprint to a route in the Vacomas, frankly, Barry, the more we do this show and the more that I watch these mile turf races in Southern California, frankly, so often it's much, much more about can a sprinter go a little bit longer than it is can someone close into a sprinter. And so with a Magale, I'm trying to get someone that I think can turn into a miler, and that's where I'm going on that angle. Sea Runner comes in 3rd for me, and this is largely off of the fact that this horse ran in the Summer Oaks, and then they tried turf again. And it had been the first time in a while, and the horse almost won the damn race under Kazushi Kimura. Keeps Lasix here. I like the angle here of going 2 turns on the turf. This is one that ran in the Blue Northern last year, that ran in the Jimmy Durante last year, frankly, was near the lead in the Jimmy Durante. And like I said, Kazushi Kimura having a fine meeting there at Del Mar right now. So I'll go 3, 2, and 6 in this one. You are very different. You landed on the inside horse and Hey Jesse on top.
Absolutely. The only stakes winner in the field. Won the Soviet Problem in December. And I think this horse is battle tested. I know she's been on a layoff since January 18th. That's a little bit of a concern, but I think getting the Lasix and looking at the work tab, this horse should be fit and ready.
I agree.
Um, it's kind of strange. I was really taken aback that this horse is 12-1 morning
I
line.
agree
I
with you.
don't think any way we'll get that. I think this horse will probably be about 5 or 6 to 1, but that's good enough in this field because the two outside horses are probably not going to take too much money, and it should lower the price on Hey Jesse. But either way, we're getting away from the favorite. But I think the running style fits. They just need to get a good trip here, and the freight train usually can get the job done.
DeMuro rides for Leonard Powell, who has inherited ribbons. Used to be in the Brad Cox barn, started his career. She did, I should say, excuse me. And in the maiden 75 ranks in Gulfstream Park, broke her maiden just the other day in the middle, frankly, the opening weekend at Del Mar. You have ribbons third in your handicapping. Now, the longer I look, she looks pretty good here.
Yeah, I think she, made a huge step up in that first race in California, and that's something to build upon. I don't, necessarily think that this horse needs the lead. I think if it's there, the horse will take it. But I think this horse has a little bit of talent. Liam's map horses are usually pretty quick in general, and this race isn't a bunch of world beaters in here, so I would definitely give that one a shot. I mean, there's versions of this race where this horse gets loose on the lead and wins
Mm.
easily.
Yeah. Race 6, we will start the late pick 5 in this spot. A mile on the dirt. It's an optional claimer. 50 grand if you want to enter your horse for the claim. $81,000 purse here. This is for 3-year-olds and up in this spot. We got Lyle's Song on the inside at 3-1 for Antonio Fresu and Mark Glatt. Feel the Magic at 7-2 in the 2 spot. Barry, you're going to go first here in race 6. And the aforementioned Lyle Song on the inside. You claim not to like the rail, my friend, but you keep picking the rail. What's going on?
Yeah, this one it was kind of hard not to, because Leo's song just stands out speed figure wise. Is just faster than all these horses. I don't even think the trip will matter whether this horse is on the lead or coming off the pace. It's just better than these horses. This was almost the boring play of the day, but didn't quite make it. But I think Lyle's song is the goods.
Lyle Song ran second by a neck last out behind Indispensable. Brazenly 3.5 back will be in this field as well. We'll break from the 7 hole for the race here. Look, you go 1, 2, and 4 in this spot, and there's an interesting, Feel the Magic runs that 1 mile dirt thing at Los Alamos because of the configuration there. It feels a little bit longer than a mile just because you do take that slight right turn by the time you get to the top of the stretch. It sort of reminds me of the 6.5 furlong sprint at Kentucky Downs that really plays a little more like a mile, that kind of thing. Does that set up well, you think, for Feel the Magic in this kind of spot? Frankly, the horse has already won at a mile at Santa Anita.
Yeah, I think this horse is it's really strange. Because I would have thought they would have came back with a turf race since then, or tried to
Mm.
get this horse back on the turf, and maybe that might be the case down the road. But flamed up some money at Los Al last time. Probably will get a similar trip and should be right around it when it's all said and done. There's, class wise, that horse probably a lot better than these most of these horses, including Privman, who I do like. I just don't like in this spot. Um,
What do you
so
not like
we'll.
about Prudman here? I just wanted to ask you.
I just think there's too many horses with the same running style. It's going to be kind of a logjam, especially with Feel the Magic, who I think is just as good as Privman, even though the morning line suggests a little different. But we'll see.
We got that July 13th work before the win on July 20th. And now we've got this August 2nd work the other day. I'm hoping it's exactly the same. I've got Pridman on top here. I went 6-1-2. You went 1-2-4. So obviously we agree on the inside horses. Tell people about Tessuto. I don't think they need to hear about Pridman and a horse by the Baffert that's good on 2 turns on the dirt. We get it. Yeah, they all do that. What do you like about Tessuto here?
Tessuto is a horse that I've lost some money on. I can definitely say that. I thought this horse was really going to run well getting to the turf and didn't. They go back to the dirt and the horse kind of perks up a little bit in a spot where there seems to be quite a bit of pace. I think this horse can clunk up and get in the picture somewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, race 7 will be the race after race 6, believe it or not. That's how that works. I believe this horse
What?
that's here.
No
We're having
way.
a counting lesson today. I feel like I'm the count on
So
Sesame Street.
that's how numbers work. Did not
That's how
know
it
that.
works. That's exactly right. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. That's right, LeBron. Race 7 is an optional claimer, $100,000. Excuse me. We're going a mile on the turf. 100,000-mile race would take a while. We're running for $84,000 here in this spot. Astronomer is in here. No, not the company, but rather the horse Gold Phoenix in here as well. 6-5 on Gold Phoenix. Barry, I have a graphic ready for you. Go ahead.
Oh man, it hurts. It hurts my feelings, but yeah, Gold Phoenix is a standout. This horse loves Del Mar in general. I would only bet this horse at Del Mar, to be honest with you. Um, there's not much in here, and this horse will probably be a lot closer up than normal and still finish this off. So Gold Phoenix looks like a complete slam dunk since you want to throw out LeBron's name.
I don't want to. I just have to. All right. So the Gold Phoenix thing, Barry, I spent 5 solid minutes trying to beat this horse. 5 solid minutes reading the past performances, just trying to come up with any reason that this horse won't win this race. And the thing I couldn't get over was how good the horse is at Del Mar. Now, the only thing that could be a question is this horse hasn't done the mile in a long time. It's been much more distance than that in recent races. Been running a lot more at a mile and an eighth, a mile and a quarter, etc. If you wanted to make the case that the horse just isn't going to get up for that, then maybe. I think Final Boss is an interesting one here, who had the lead in the Wicker and then just lost it at the end. If the horse is a little more put together than that day, I think the horse can get the lead, keep the lead, and win. So if I were trying to upset the 2 here, I would look at the 3. I know you don't have that horse in your handicapping, but you do have the 5 and Astronomer. And Astronomer's interesting because I do think there's a world in which this horse sits right on the hip of Final Boss and tries to make a run at the very end, hold off Gold Phoenix at the end of this race. But Gold Phoenix just looks so tough on paper. Your second horse in your handicapping was the 5 horse in Astronomer. What do you like about him?
I think honestly he's going to get the same trip Gold Phoenix is going to get. And Gold Phoenix is just faster and better finisher and the whole 9. So they'll probably be running together at the end, I would think. In my head, past Final Boss, who was kind of softened up from Air Force Red and the outside horse Beyond Brilliant, who probably will be fresh off of the, second off a 3-year layoff. So I'm gonna count on that horse trying to really go for the lead and really set things up for Gold Phoenix.
Beyond Brilliant, breaking from the outside Giant Sheriff's trains. I thought looked fine in the Wicker last out, right? I mean, I thought that was a nice soft spot landing, obviously shooting for this spot as well. But here we go. Late pick 3 at Del Mar. We're presented by AmWager here on the Horse Racing Happy Hour. We're presenting SoCal Saturdays. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us again. AmWager.com. Go get that sign up bonus right now. A $10,000 claimer. Thank God for these races. Filling the starting gates in Southern California. 5.5 on the dirt here. Again, 10,000 for non-2 lifers, and we are running for $26,000. Barry, this is where you shine, my friend. You love these kinds of races. Also starts a late $3 pick 3, one of our favorite bets in California. Where did you land in this one? You and I similar in our handicapping up top.
Yeah, this race I didn't get too creative with either. I ended up on the 7, Majestic Palisades. There's not really all that much speed in here, and I think being forwardly placed is going to be where it's at. Although I haven't seen a whole ton of wire-to-wire winners at Del Mar on the dirt, which is a little unusual, but this race might be a little bit of an exception. There's really one horse that really wants to get out there, and I think What's the Buzz, the 6, will try to do that. And being parked right next to a Majestic Palisades is going to get a hell of a trip and should win this.
Yeah, you're on the 7, 11, and 4 here. I went 6, 7, and I'm going to try What's the Buzz for the reason that you just mentioned. I think this horse is going to inherit the leads. And frankly, Barry, at some point in a 10K claimer, you might just get a horse that gets the lead, keeps the lead, right? And so in my mind, 5-1, totally fair. I think with the connections, you might get better than 5-1. I think we might be looking at 8-9-1 by the time we get to the gate, just because it is Jose Valdez, who has 13 starts this year, and Daniel Herrera, who has 5 wins and 36 starts at Del Mar. Now, he's had a fine start to the Del Mar meeting. I'm not picking on that at all, but those are not the kinds of connections that we think about, because they've never teamed up on a horse before. And so that's the kind of horse where I think you can get a lot of value. But we're talking about a 10K claimer, and I think he's perfect for this one. Like I said, I agree with you on Majestic Palisades. I know we're also in on Broadway Unions, who at this level seems to be very good. Juan Hernandez deciding to ride in this one. That's a big change. Comes over to the Sean Williams barn. He's only won for his last 15, but horses coming off of this kind of layoff, second off, he has hit with 3 of his last 11. So should be good to go there as well. Race 9 is the Yellow Ribbon Handicap. It is the Grade 2. It is the feature of the card on Saturday at Del Mar. Barry and I could not be more different in this one, but it is a mile and a 16th going through the turf chute and onto the main track there, onto the main turf track at least, at Del Mar. Barry, I will let you go first in the Yellow Ribbon. Tell us about the 4-horse in Public Assembly. I at least like the connections here.
Yeah, the connections are definitely part of this pick, but I think this horse is just really improving. You can see after this horse, or basically the races this year, March 30th, April 26th, May 26th, this horse is running really good. And in the Gamely, just was a bit overmatched and didn't get a good run at it, because Be Your Best dominated that race, start to finish. Nobody even came close to her. So I can put a line through that. And when you do that, getting this horse into Grade 2 instead of the Grade 1, it's going to make all the difference, I think. And with the post position, everything, this horse is going to get a really good crack at it. And I think the price will be right as well. I think we should get every bit of that 5-1, and I like it a lot.
So which one is the other D'Amato? Is it Public Assembly or is it Mission of Joy? Which one is the other D'Amato in this?
Got to be Mission of Joy. That horse has some back class.
That's the other or just the other?
Because just the other. Okay. The other. I don't know what I
is
can
Phil
say
D'Amato,
about that.
Bob Baffert of turf racing in Southern California. Text the show.
He sure is. But then, this horse could be the surprise. I just didn't think Musical Rhapsody, has run fast enough to win a race like this.
Okay. Fair enough. I got Hang the Moon on the inside on my top spot here. Look at me grabbing the rail here, Barry. I think the ones are just going to win the whole day at Del Mar now.
Hey, that's happened at Aqueduct before.
Shut up.
Yeah.
They had a day with just one?
All ones. Pick 6 was all ones. Everything was all ones. Not that long ago either.
I love it.
I say that now. I'll look it up, but
yeah, I was going to say 1993 or something. Right? Bill Clinton was president not that long ago.
Not that old, am I? I am.
Come on, Bill. I'm gonna hang with Hang the Moon here. A son of Uncle or daughter of Uncle Mo. What am I saying? The Phil D'Amato and Kazushi Kimura combination here. Going to be coming from off the pace. Plenty of front runners or stalkers in this one. I love the move in the Frankel last out to change tactics and be a little bit closer. And we've seen this from this horse at Del Mar before in the Osanitas. It's a listed stakes, but it was that was in July of last year at this time of year. And so more interested. She's won at Del Mar before. This was the horse that he took to the Breeders' Cup as well. And that's part of the reason I'm using this one here. Now, if you wanted to go the other way, he may be using this to set this horse up for the rest of the year. If he thinks this could be a mare that makes it to the Breeders' Cup. I don't think that's what this is. I think he knows that she's not a Breeders' Cup horse. And I know that trying to pick off Grade 2s is a big deal. And so I think they're going to try to pick off a Grade 2 here. Again, she won the JC maybe before at Del Mar over a mile and an eighth. We're only going a little bit further here. That was under Kimura. That was his first ride with her. So I'm going to ride with him again in this spot. I'm going to the 5 in the second spot in Watchtower. I know you're going to love this one. 12-1 has been off for a while for Richard Baltas. That is his best angle. 23% on these kinds of layoffs. And look at the works, Barry. This horse is ready to go. And they've had this one running on the turf course there outside the dummies at Del Mar. I'm interested to see how this one pops back. This is a horse that won the Autumn Miss over a mile last year at Santa Anita. Another deep closer. So this is where I'm going to need DeMuro to be his good, best turf self in these spots and go ahead and get this one home. But I think the 12-1 on this one is way too way, way, way too long to pass up. And so I'll be looking for the 5 horse there as well. And then I went to Heredia in the second spot. Juan Hernandez gets the mount for Graham Motion, who ran this horse in the Della Rose last out, a listed stakes at Saratoga. And there were so many horses in that field that they had to split the race into divisions. But before that, ran at Aqueduct in the Bogey and almost picked the thing off under Manny Franco. And so I'm hopeful that Juan Hernandez, knowing the course there, will give this horse a little bit better of a chance. 1, 5, and 2 there. You went 4, 3, Public Assembly and Liguria. Talk about Umberto Respoli's mount here.
Yeah, this horse is classy. And it's tough, though, because of the fact that this, if you want to get into the mind of Spears, it's hard to tell where the pace is going to come from in this race. And my idea is that Public Assembly might be the one doing it. And that might put this horse in a great position either way, because the versatility, let's just say, Phil D'Amato wants Hang the Moon to get to the lead. This horse could be right there, close. I don't think this pace is going to be super fast. That's why I was a little cold on a horse like Watchtower and Musical Rhapsody. But this is really going to be interesting. And even Liguria has a chance to kind of get in the race a lot earlier. And I think that benefits her and her class. So I think she's going to finish strong.
One that you and I do not have in our handicapping, but I want to ask you about, just to follow up on what you just said about the pace of this race. If you think there isn't going to be some kind of breakneck speed at the front of this thing, does Mahina on the outside have a chance to be either right at the front or in the front for Hector Berrios and pick this thing off?
Yeah, if he gets aggressive. I mean, I think, whoever.
If you see the ride we saw, say, in the Frankel or something like that, or, the possibly perfect last out where that horse is very much part of that early part of the pace, is that a spot we could see this in? Because frankly, like you said, not a ton of early pace in this thing.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, Hector Berrios is going to have some decisions to make early, whether he's going to really go for the front or is he going to try to stalk.
Right.
Either way might work out because of the fact he's going to be clear of some other horses. So the post position might not affect this horse too badly. But again, it's about who gets aggressive and who doesn't. The only thing I don't want to see is Hang the Moon, Public Assembly, and Mahina just going at it early, because that'll just ruin everything for me.
It would ruin everything for you. And for you, I mean, Barry Spears. His name is Barry Spears. He hangs out with me every Friday. Louie Rabaut on the Horse Racing Happy Hour. This is SoCal Saturdays, on to the final race already. Can't believe it. We're presented by Amwager. Amwager.com, of course, that 100% deposit match up to $150 going on right now. Live in California. Bet all the California tracks with our friends at Amwager and Amwager.com. The closer is a maiden special state bred $100,000 race here. 6 furlongs on the dirt. And this is for 3 fillies and mares 3 and up. Just a difference in what weight they're carrying based on their age here, Barry. And I'll go first here. I landed 7, 3, and 2 here. You and I are very similar on the 7 and the 3 in this spot. Crystal Clean comes in as the 7. Hector Berrios gets the ride for John Sadler, who wins first time out at an insane rate of 20% lately over his last 41 first-time starters. This horse has been working at Del Mar. Not super fast, but should be ready to go by the time we get there. This Daughter of Violence, I think, sets up really, really well in this company. I went to the 3 next in Ride Gold for Craig Lewis and Juan Hernandez. Interesting one here, getting off of the turf and getting back to dirt. We saw this one do that last year, almost broke her maiden first asking at Santa Anita. Threw this one on the turf. I'm not exactly sure why. Almost did it anyway a couple of times. And then before in the last 2 races, just not been there. I like the move back to the sprint here for this horse. A nice little freshening out of the gate the other day as well, Barry. So I went ahead. I landed 7, 3, and 2 here. You've got the 5 on top, though, for Tiger Fire with our guy, Armando Ayuso.
Yeah, I like that first race they had on May 18th. The horse ran really good behind Hurricane Lyle and beat Joyful Mischief, who's in this race, the 10. But they felt the need to put this horse on the turf to see what she could do, being out of Smiling Tiger. And she didn't get a great trip. She was, in a even worse post position, and never really got a chance to run. I think that experience between the first one and the second one will do this horse a lot of good in this race. I don't think we'll get a first-time starter who's a winner here, and this horse seems to be, good enough, and not run off to where the horse will be on the lead, just kind of winging it. I think this horse has learned to run a little bit after those first two experiences.
You landed on the 7 and the 3 after that. Do you agree largely with what I said about the 7 and the 3 in this case?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Ride Gold is one that I'm a little bit cold on.
Yeah.
I think she's just better than most of these horses, but I think just the way that she ran and almost won and then kind of tailed off, it kind of signals to me that she needs a slight drop in class.
I've got the 2 Timekeeper's Charm third in my handicapping, and I'm just hoping that June race at Santa Anita is the one that we get this weekend, essentially, with her. Is that, getting back to that kind of form, not what we saw there at Los Al, but she's been competitive early in her last 2 races, so it's not like she isn't breaking well and trying. It just hasn't turned out for her yet. So hopefully,
beaten favorites are always good to watch because they never bet the same the next time out, and usually get a price.
Yeah, she was the favorite last out at Los Al in a lower level maiden special. She ran for 45 at Los Al. She'll run for 100 at Del Mar. Well, he's Barry Spears. I'm Louie Rabaut. This has been another rendition of SoCal Saturdays. I now ask you about Virginia, Barry. Who you got in the Arlington Million?
Not integration.
So you're against integration?
Very much so. At Colonial Downs. Only at Colonial Downs, not in general. But honestly, I think Cairo's going to be tough to beat, but I may throw a few bucks on Runaway Storm the 4 at a big price going lone speed wire to wire. But
I like Grand
interesting
Sonata.
Race.
I like Grand Sonata in that spot. I think Tyler will give that one a really good chance to catch up there. If you want to see or hear, I should say, my interview with Jason Beam from earlier in the year, of course, wherever you got this podcast, go check it out as well. On the Horse Racing Happy Hour for Barry Spears, I'm Louie Rabaut. Another edition of SoCal Saturdays in the books. Thank you to our friends at amwager.com for hanging out with us. A 100% deposit match up to $150 going on right now. Good luck with all those bets. We'll see you next week on SoCal Saturday.